Roguelites kinda suck. Whoa, get out of the comment section. I love a good roguelite as much as the next guy, but if we're being honest with ourselves, they suffer from two major problems. The first is that they start aggressively slow. They give you one, maybe two weapons, if you're lucky, maybe a magic spell, and because the nature of roguelite is live, die, repeat, you find yourself doing the same thing over and over until you finally die enough to unlock a new playstyle. Quick, pick your upgrade, attack slightly faster or slightly slower. Ooh, they're both so unique. Wizard of Legend says, screw that, here's some cash, buy a dozen spells or relics, actually buy anything you want and just have fun. And then you actually enter the dungeon and get smacked down so hard you forget your own name. What the hell was that? Where am I? Who am I? I've never played a roguelite that not just from the start, but throughout the entire game gives you so much diversity in playstyle. 6 elements and over 100 unique spells that all feel like they have their own place. This isn't just red punch, blue punch. Fire is short range and burns, but you're really in the thick of it and you can take a lot of damage. Water has massive range, great knockback, but it's low damage, slow, and single target. Thunder is a literal taser.
Unlimited power.
And this is just 3 of the basic melee spells. There are dozens more just in this category that all act differently. Stone doesn't have to be slow, fire doesn't have to be short, and okay, thunder is always a taser.
Unlimited power.
The differences just continue to stack when you start adding more spells. The downside to that awesome water boxing suddenly disappears when you combine it with a flame spell to increase attack speed. Of course, that's taking up a slot you could use for something aggressive, but that's okay, because you can play however you want and still have a chance to steamroll. Can't touch me, can't touch me, can't touch me. Dash around, leaving ice statues that freeze enemies. Use tornadoes to keep trash away. Summon turrets, minions, phantoms, or just giant flaming balls of death. Or just say fuck it and charm enemies to fight for you while you relax. Kill that dude and I'll suck you. And don't forget the literally hundreds of relics that all seem to be references to other games and creators who supported the game. These can completely change how your build works on the fly mid-dungeon. It feels like the combinations are endless and it's just so satisfying when a build starts to come together. I probably shouldn't have randomized my spells. That's not great. That cursed relic really fucks me. Probably shouldn't have risked that. And I'm dead. Because that's the thing about roguelites. They tend to have this special moment, the very first run when the game starts to click. When your build comes together on the fly and you're feeling yourself truly make progress. It's such an innate, satisfying feeling that anyone who's played this genre knows. Oh, we're steamrolling now. Get fucked. Oh, it's going so well. Oh shit. When you find these runs, you just feel unstoppable. I found myself having run after run like this. Every build had something amazing that I loved and no spell felt weak or useless. The game isn't holding your hand though. On top of looking beautiful, you start to realize the combat animations are carefully crafted to teach the player. And if you aren't paying attention, it all falls apart. Fuck! This combat feels brutally unfair. The tutorial, which is incredibly charming, clever, and unique in its own way,
A true wizard always wears his hood.
does a fantastic job setting up the world, but doesn't exactly prepare you for dying over and over to literally everything. And that's why you feel so skilled when it all comes together. I am going to stomp this boss. I have so much prepped for him. Oh, fuck. But hey, it's worth it because if you can survive 11 floors, 7 mini-bosses, and 4 bosses, you'll be crowned the Wizard of Legend. So that's neat. The thing is, I'm lying. I said the combat feels unfair, but it's not. It's not hard, it's not easy, it's perfectly balanced. Something I've never seen in the game before. Every attack, every movement, even the enemies are perfectly designed to telegraph what they're going to do. And if you pay attention, you can learn the timing to deal with it. You enter a room, circle the enemies, dodge the initial volley, and wait for that perfect moment when they're off center. And punish them. But it doesn't stop there. The early trash mobs are designed to teach you everything you need later in the game. This knight is just this knight who becomes this one and then eventually is this mini boss. Every iteration isn't just a new color with a bigger health bar. They add new patterns to learn, new difficulties. This slime on the first floor is nothing, but facing it on floor 3 might end your entire run. Even the bosses have a simple pattern that you can learn if you pay attention. The first one is literally dodge, 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 strike, and repeat. That's what you get for not wearing a hood. Is it easy? No. Is it simple? Yes, and that's why it's perfect. The best part is the moves the bosses use are based on actual spells you use, meaning the best way to overcome them and learn from them is to try them yourself. And without spoiling anything, trust me, you'll want to understand and learn as many of the spells as possible if you want to beat the final boss. Master my ass, he's not wearing a hood either. Get him! Most games you quickly find a meta that's so overpowered anyone can win with it, but not this one. This one lets you play however you want and says if you're willing to pay attention, to practice, you can still win. And that diversity is a strength. That's a crown, not a hood. Bye-bye. But this leads to the second problem with roguelites, and really why many die-hard fans of the genre actually prefer roguelite games, and that's unbalanced progression. Meta progression sucks in a lot of ways. It's great for someone like me who doesn't have 8 hours to struggle and suffer through a barony run, but if you can lose 100 times, slowly becoming more and more overpowered until finally you simply can't lose, where is the fun anymore? Wizards doesn't let you become overpowered like other roguelites. Sure, a new cloak gives you a bit more health, and you can unlock new spells or relics to start with, but you'll always just start with 4 spells and a relic. You could die 100, 1,000, or even 10,000 1,000 times, the game won't be any easier. Now let us begin a true duel of wizards. Oh shit. It's much more like a roguelike where the experience gained each run is knowledge. It forces the responsibility back onto the player to pay attention. And in the end, that makes this roguelike so much more satisfying than any of the other ones I've played. And to prove it, this is what happened when I beat the final boss. Oh, I finally beat him. Now, if listening to what sounds like Donald Duck ejaculating doesn't prove this is the perfect roguelite, then I do have to admit I'm lying again. I said at the start, roguelites suffer from two problems: repetitive playstyles and boring progression, but there is a third: replayability. For a genre defined by repetition, that sounds stupid, but I find very few roguelites ever actually get replayed once you beat them completely, because that second playthrough really would just be the same as the first. But I've spent weeks playing this game, and despite beating it several times, I'm constantly running different builds. I'm nowhere close to unlocking every single arcana yet, I haven't even tried the special modes or challenges, and my absolute favorite thing is just to randomly generate a build and then try beat the game with it. Wizard of Legend does what I feel like games have stopped doing recently. It focuses on simple to understand but deep to master gameplay. And shockingly, it makes sure that it's actually fun. And that's the reason why entire leagues, competitions, and speedrunners are still tearing this game apart 6 years later. Now, if only I had a single friend to play the co-op mode with. 4 out of 5.